Last episode, we ended with the characters getting to level 60. Between finishing that episode and the start of this one, I regularly browse the shops to find some good deals, because I need a lot of stuff for the coming levels. I bought an Enjuki, 2 Interats, two Panzerus, 2 Maideers, a Recorn set, and a Guardian Big Axe. To get the money for this, I hunted some more violets and sold some upgrading materials. I also upgraded the Recorn set and the Guardian Big Axe to +4. And actually managed to get my Dreadthrow to +5 this time. Then my characters begin their second job change quest. Once I make some more money, I will really need to upgrade these boards. After completing all the other steps, it's time to fight the Guardians. It is pretty much a given that these will be very easy for my characters, since they're used to fighting very tough bosses, and these are intended to be killed by everyone. The Venal Guardian has about the same attack as a Giant Steel Knight, but he doesn't have any special attacks. He also has a lot less HP, he can't recover HP, and he doesn't berserk. His only strength is that he has no elemental typing, meaning no weaknesses and elemental resistances aren't effective against him. I bought the Recorn set because it's very helpful for fighting bosses that either have no elemental type or are wind types, since the Shimutro set does not protect against those types of monsters. It offers a little bit less DPS than a common set, but it also comes with HP and more defense, and it's also much cheaper. It is noticeable that my hit rate is kind of lacking here, but I will upgrade this set to +5 later and put some points into accuracy as well on Guizo. The Venal Guardian also has an unusually high parry rate for his level. Once he goes down, Guizo still has to deal with the Cardinal Guardian. But that one is much weaker than the Venal Guardian, so defeating him is really easy. My characters are then promoted to their second job. I put half of Leon's shoes points into stamina and the other half into strength, and I put all of Guizdo's points into intelligence again. I also use most of his new skill points to max Macabre. I can use it to AoE a lot faster, and I think that I also might need it for the clockworks later. On Leon Chu I only max Heart of Fury for now. It is then time to do the many quests that will get me to level 65. While I'm here to kill these red banks, I decide to hunt the second Lord Bang right now. I'm not level 65 yet, but he is super weak. Somehow his attack is lower than a level 40 Lord Bang. And like the other quest bosses, he has no special attacks. The only threatening thing about him is that his damage triples when he is low HP. With my Panzeros on, he only deals 150 damage per hit, and I have over 7000 HP. When I switch to my Might Ears to deal more damage, his damage increases to 400 per hit, but this is still very little. It is strange there is no quest to kill Hanoian. Amidolka, the NPC in the Darkham 1 camp, does talk about him during the questline, but at level 66 the questline just ends, and there's never a quest to defeat him. After killing him, I turn in the last quest I need to hit level 65. The first thing that I do now that I'm level 65 is use my reskill on Lianshu. I no longer need special hit and it's taken up a lot of points. Knights also have so many skill points that you will be able to max everything at higher levels. So keeping the reskill until I'm a higher level is essentially the same thing as deleting it, as I will never need it again. I max all the passive skills and guard, but I forget to max power stomp. I will do this later. I then finally buy 2 faster boards for 3 mil each. I also upgrade my Recorn set to +5 to get a bit more hit rate. On Grease though I max Spirit Fortune to increase my damage. And since it's upgrade weekend I wanted to try to get my Dreadpower to +7. I get very unlucky with these and it takes me a lot of attempts. I do succeed on my very last prolo, but I started with 22. Then it's time for the next boss on the list, the Iblis Leanes. It's the last of the 3 regular bosses in the Iblis Temple. His stats don't make him appear all that threatening, so I think this won't be very difficult. His area attacks are very large, but it's also very slow, unlike the Quaker's attacks, so it's quite easy to run out of it. After a while he falls over and I teleport out of the temple. I then finish the remaining quests that I hadn't done yet. And after that I start AoE leveling with Power Stone for the first time. I had barely even started and I already find a lightning 4% guard, which I use on my suit. A little bit later I find a stick that's +8, which doesn't have much use to me, but I don't think I've ever found an item yet that was above +6. So even though it's useless, it is exceedingly rare. These levels are a little bit awkward when you're in AoE build. Small Greemon, regular carrier bombs and captain carrier bombs are ranged attackers, so I try to not level at those, since they can all fire at once and kill you. Captain Greemon and regular boots can also inflict poison. The poison itself is not a very big problem, but when I recorded this, there was still a bug in the game that made all the monsters deal double damage with hits that inflict poison. This has been patched very recently, despite having been in the game since Universal released. I didn't record it, but I got killed at both Captain Greemon and regular boots quite a few times while I was AoEing them. After hitting level 67, I hunted Giant Greymon and traded the Rave Stick plus 8 I found for 5 topaz. I intended to attempt to make a Guardian stick with these, but after seeing how much it would cost and how low the success rate is, I decided against it. It's a bit of a shame that topaz have the same success rate as diamonds. This doesn't make much sense, because bloodies are much harder to obtain than Guardian weapons. In town I find a shield with wind resistance on it, which I buy for the Iblis Leanes later. I realize that it's probably smart to have both characters hit level 70 around the same time. That way I can do some quests on both of them at the same time. So I tank with Leon Chu and have Greasto deal all the damage for a little while. He gets about 7% per AoE. By the way, for those wondering, the names of my characters come from a cartoon from the early 2000s called Dragon Hunters, which I always thought had a lot of similarities with Clive. It's about two hunters who travel through the world fighting monsters. Their world is made out of a collection of flying islands. They travel mostly by flight, and despite being rather successful, they're always poor. Their final opponent is a big red dragon, much like the red meteorical. Now that I'm level 70, it's time for another boss. This time it's Klux. He follows the weird pattern of quest bosses that aren't particularly threatening, but have an unusually high berserk value. He's normally pretty weak, but his damage goes up by 150% when he falls below 10% HP, and he has no elemental typing, so my resistances won't protect me. When fighting him, you should be careful not to move him towards the city. He will very quickly lose aggro when he moves in that direction. But you can move him pretty far away from the cage if you go into another direction. I also get to test my heal ring here, which I just unlocked. I only have 1 point into it, but it's already much better than my regular heal. There's a second boss at this level, the Iblis Leanes. So far, he's the boss with the most HP in attack. He's also a wind type, so I can't reduce his damage with my Shimutra set. When I start the fight, he soon casts his area attack. And it turns out that he's going to do this a lot. which is pretty annoying. You can also summon these other mobs, and he will do that very frequently as well. Since Leanes can survive his area attack and I barely get time to attack if I keep running away, I decide to just stand still and only move with Quisto. The outcome of this was very predictable, but it didn't stop me at the time. After turning in the Clock's quest, I level up to 71. But I still have some Rionan quests left, so I get started on those. While doing these quests, I run into the Violet Boo. This thing is pure evil. I'm very glad that he's not on the boss list. His area attack is fast, albeit small, but he also has two very bad traits. He can apply poison, which means that he can randomly deal double the damage with his attack, as I mentioned earlier, and he can heal himself for a lot of HP. This is an unusual skill that he has, and it's not like the regular HP recovery. And because it's a skill, he can do it again and again. I gave this 3 attempts and then I gave up. It wasn't possible at the time. It would have been easier if it was closer to his level, but it's very RNG dependent, as I need to get lucky with the poison hits and with him not using his heal skill too much. I could probably have won this now, since the poison bug is now fixed, but one of these bugged hits would almost kill me instantly. I turned in the rest of the quests and I had level 72 along the way. The quests have also given me some G-Pro, and with these I can add some piercing slots to my Recorn suit and get 8% attack on it. I'm not even losing the scrolls in the process, since on FWC this is a 100% chance for the first 2 slots. Then I start grinding at Captain Mushboy. These give incredibly good experience now. Last year all the experience rates in Darken 3 were buffed. Most monsters had their XP reward increased, but some a lot more than others. Captain Mushboy now give about 70% more experience than they did before. The gap in experience between them and the regular Mushboy is also very big, and they give about as much experience as all the 3 types of iron do. So I will grind here a lot until level 80. After hitting level 74, I power level Guizdo a little, so that he hits level 73. I then do the first step in the Envy Depths questline, but it is very annoying, since it requires you to hunt a violet, and those are still very contested. I've killed plenty so far, but it can still take me a while to find one. They're still very contested, and there's level 20 characters with names like Crane Elder 06 logging in constantly. After hopping channels for a bit, I spot the Violet Elder Guard standing near Riodas. I defeat him and get the quest item. Then I fly over to the box NPC to turn it in, but I also spot the violet garbage spider on my way over. I count myself lucky and kill that one as well. I then continue flying towards the box NPC and also spot the violet crane machinery there. So I bag him too, and I end up with quite a hole. After turning in the quest, Leanes levels up to 75. That's the end of this episode. And unfortunately, I don't know if there will be more. I truly enjoyed making this little series, but after I finished recording this episode, I hit some major roadblocks. The inflation that always comes at the end of an FWC server hit meaning that this kind of self-reliant playstyle is no longer viable. I already had most of the stuff I needed for the coming levels, but it would not have been possible to buy more things later. I also just lacked the time to finish it. When I started making these, I was in between jobs, so I had way too much time on my hands. But now I do have a job, and I'm also getting my master's degree. For these videos, the process of planning, recording, writing, doing the voiceover and editing is very time consuming. I spent way more time producing these episodes than actually playing the game. For the first episode, I spent less than 2 hours playing, but it took more than 20 hours to make the episode. And while I got faster at editing, the later episodes turned out much longer, so they were kind of in the same range. These were the remaining bosses on my list. The only ones which I imagine would have given me trouble would be the Clockworks and the Red Meteoniker. The rest was probably not going to be much of a challenge. Clockworks would have been interesting, as I'm not sure if I have the damage for it. I want to thank everyone who regularly watches these. The lower levels of the game have always been very special in my opinion. We usually rush towards the end game as fast as possible, so I really enjoy taking it slow for once and doing everything there is to do. In the end, it's all about the journey and not the destination.